Hi guys, in this video I'm going to take a very different route where I'm going to criticize myself in this video a little bit, and that is why for this particular set of verses I myself am the perfect analogy for these terms. Now the reason I say this is because these verses talk about two very important words in our life, that is fear and courage. Now before we get into the verse, we have to first answer a very simple question. When we read the Bhagavad Gita, why do most people not follow the message that is given in the Bhagavad Gita? Many people naturally know the Bhagavad Gita. Some people, when they learn, they understand that this is how life has to be, but yet they are really not able to follow it. Why? Now before we get to that, let me just put out 10 common words in English through which we will proceed further. Faith, belief, right, wrong, action, inaction, light, dark, and wise and ignorant. Now you see, all the words that I mentioned, which you can see on the right side of the screen, is something that we do not dislike, but these are the words that we hate and despise completely. All of us subconsciously and even consciously want to be on the left side of the screen. Now just consider that there is an imaginary bridge that connects both the sides of these words. Now when we take a look at it, it is a bridge that requires you to eliminate fear, and as the bridge itself is built on courage. And this courage is not something which we normally talk about when you want to achieve or pursue a goal, but this is a different form of courage and character and principle that you have to build in order to go from this side of the bridge onto the other. See, when we talk about true knowledge, or when we talk about what true wisdom really is, it is not only to understand where we stand, but also focus on why we are here, and most importantly understand what is the true cause of problem in our life. And I'll just give you my simple story for this particular statement. Now when I read the Bhagavad Gita for the first time, I always was able to understand that there are two standard things that stood out. That expectation and desire are the root cause of all evil, and those two words are powered and fueled by our ego consciousness. Now I read this, I understand it in a very quiet environment, and then I close the book and I come out into living my normal life in the daily world. And when I come back to the normal world, I see people talking about the goal-oriented process of life. I see people talking about the career-oriented process of life. And more importantly, I see people talking about the money and the role of importance of money in life. And now I start to wonder whether the Bhagavad Gita is actually applicable in daily life. All the people around me, my parents, my friends, and everybody is talking about a career, a goal, a passion, a need, a desire, a want, and the Bhagavad Gita opposes all these things. So you start to wonder, what is stopping you from going towards the path that is real and that is keeping you in the land of illusion? Now surely we don't want to be on this side of the screen. We want to travel here. But then still, why do we persist and rather enjoy being ignorant and live on this side of the screen? The answer is very simple, because we take pride in our ignorance more often than not. All the actions over here, all these material goals that I spoke about, all these are finite goals. The Bhagavad Gita here asks a question. You have a career goal. Now let's be positive. You achieve it. What then? You achieve one goal. What then? You have a family-oriented goal. You achieve that. What then? Then you have a personal goal. What then? You have an organizational goal. What then? So it just keeps prolonging to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, where till your death you're never ever going to be satisfied at all. So all these goals are finite in nature, and that is why one of the great philosophers gives a very simple example. all the goals that human beings associate themselves with is like trying to hold water at the palm of their hands for eternity. See, when we take water, collect it and hold it in our hands, the chillness of the water makes us feel so good. But for how long? It lasts in our hands for some time, and the more harder we try to hold it, it starts eroding away from our fingers, and sooner than later we are just having an empty hand. This is why finite goals are not worth pursuing as per the Bhagavad Gita. But here I'm not going to tell you what you need to do and how you can reach from this side of the bridge onto this side, because frankly even I am a person who is built and jolted down by the fear of losing all such things. See, because in order to gain something, you definitely have to lose something, and that is what the Bhagavad Gita says. If you want to pursue an infinite goal, you have to lose the desire of all finite goals in life. See, because on this side of the screen, it is not available to all man. It is not accessible to all man. To cross that bridge, you should not resist your fear, but you have to refrain from fear completely. And fear can be eliminated only when we are clear in our thoughts and when our mind is stable. Ever since we were kids, we were instilled with fear, such as when you're 23, you should have a job. When you are 45, you should be retired. When you are 60, you should not depend upon your children. All these things have been instilled by an external force onto you. Why do you think that kids below the age of 5 are so happy? Because they cannot understand what elders say. And that attitude is what the Bhagavad Gita asks us to have throughout the course of life, to as long or how long we live in this planet. Now, when we talk about fear and courage, I really don't know how you can eliminate fear, but the Bhagavad Gita answers that with the help of trying. If we can try to achieve our finite goals, we can also make an attempt in trying to achieve infinite goals. And that's where the famous verse from Bhagavad Gita counts, where Krishna says, it is the attempt and the desire from within of wanting to achieve the infinite goal counts, and not necessarily the capacity of execution in works. Because many of us, we might want to do something, but we really have not grown or molded into a way where we can actually go through that. And that is why it says, give yourself some time, consistently and persistently think that you are getting rid of finite goals and going towards infinite, and slowly nature itself will help you when the time is right for this particular individual to channel their thoughts, emotions, words, actions, everything towards this side of the bridge and not on this side. This process is a long one, as the Bhagavad Gita says, to develop courage and walk towards a path of character which is made through a serious set of hard principles that one has to follow. And that is the theme of these final verses of chapter 4 in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, as I mentioned at the end of the 3rd chapter, the first 3 chapters cover the major gist of Bhagavad Gita. So from chapter 5 onwards, we would be going at a much faster pace, more so in 1 or 2 videos per chapter, mainly because we have covered the major portions of the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2 and 3, and we had covered every sort of human emotion in chapter 1. So that's the wrap for this particular episode. I would see you guys from chapter 5 in the next episode, and as always, thank you for watching, and until the next episode, it is goodbye.